Okay, well, we'll start out. I'd like to ask you about Ken Roczen. It was another great weekend for him, another great points weekend. So I guess what have your conversations been like over the course of the past 6 days with Ken coming into this weekend?
Not much. I mean, it's pretty much just keep the train rolling, right? I think 3 podiums out of 4 rounds. Obviously, we narrowly missed out on the win there. That's kind of a bummer, but the riding's been well. So for us, let's just maintain course, and it's a very long season, so we'll see where that gets us.
Questions from the media?
Johnny with Moto Unfiltered. Dustin, talking with your rider, Jason, he's saying that he's feeling a little bit, recovery is difficult for him from World Supercross, and he's at the end of the races, he's not all, I don't know, he's just slowing down. So what do you do to try to help motivate a rider and help him recover so that he can last the whole 20 laps?
Well, I think he's just got to build throughout the season. Yeah, is already very, he like rides way too much. So it's not like an effort, or it's not a thing of effort for him. He is putting in the work. We just got to figure out how to make him last because the speed is there.
Jason just told me that he's back on a shock that he used in practice at A2 and didn't like then, but he feels like you found a good middle ground with it. Can you expand on the testing done this week and maybe what he found?
No, I think that for him it's just trying to like back-to-back it and refine the setup. That's all that is. We played with like a softer setup, and then we tried a really stiff one, then we tried it in the middle. So for us, it's just about finding that right little sweet spot. I won't get into the specifics of it.
Scott Yarjo, Moto Now. Can you speak to Suzuki's efforts with your program, and has it been increasing lately, and what is like the long-term goal with Suzuki's efforts? And
Yeah, I think the long-term goal for the team is to win a title and to compete for race wins. And Suzuki wants to do that with us. So that's the good thing. Yeah, we just want to go out and try and win. So they're going to support us to do that.
Hey, Jason from Racer X. Kenny's getting so close to that win, but obviously the goal is to stay in it for the whole year. So how do you balance? He was surprisingly bummed. He's been so good with podiums, but he was pretty bummed that one got away. How do you calm him back down and say, look, the goal isn't to win any individual race, but to stay healthy all year?
Yeah, I think the main thing for Ken is just to keep him level-headed, right, to where the emotions are kind of out of it. And I think that's something that he works on throughout the year. So for us, this is just one more race, right? This is Phoenix that we're going into, and this is a stadium that he's been good at in the past. So for us, just keep things consistent for him, and it'll come.
Being a team manager and managing people, has it been pretty easy with Jason and Colt and Kenny to kind of play to their strengths, as far as keeping them happy and having them have fun and seeing the results from that when they're in a good mood and in a good headspace?
Yeah, I think the good thing about these guys is they're all a little bit older, to where, things when they're in their 20s, they might not get upset about, right? So they kind of know how the sport goes. So for us, it's actually pretty easy. They all get along, and it's good.
Mitch Payton, thanks for your time today. Last week was a great weekend for you and the team. What was it, results aside, from both Levi and Cameron, did you see from them that you were most impressed with?
I think they're both riding good. Starts help. I think in both classes, results are a lot start dependent. So I think that's a critical part. If you get a good start, it's a good chance you stay up there.
Questions from the media?
Mitch, Steve Mathis, ClubMX. Hello, Mitch. Let's look ahead to East Coast a little bit with Seth Hammaker and Drew Adams. Seth's shoulder injury, obviously, surgery. How's that going? Drew had something happen to him off season. How are those guys looking? How are they riding? What's your outlook for Hammaker and Drew?
I think both of them look good right now. They're down at the dog pound and they're riding. Drew's having some of his best weeks, which is the right time, and Seth has been really good since he's been back on a bike, and his shoulder feels like better than it's ever felt. So I feel like that coast is going to go really well.
Mitch, Johnny Hopper with Moto Unfiltered. With the recent dominance of Star Yamaha, What are you telling your riders to help take that spot back? I know there's been a lot of aggressive riding, and your guys are really clean.
Well, I think they should ride aggressive, and like, I think if you look at the pass last week Hayden did on Levi, it's just like what Levi did to him, and there was a lot of complaining about that, but you didn't see us go complain about it. So I think aggressive riding is important. I don't think we can be completely so hands-off. I think it's always been, you know, an aggressive sport, and that's important.
Talking to Levi about his persistent whole shot device issues, he said that he feels like you figured it out now. So what did you do? Do you know where this came from, and how much of a surprise was it that you were having these issues?
I think part of it was dealing with a wheelie off the grate that he was having. So we kept lowering and lowering and lowering the start device, and I think we got it too low to where when he goes into the corner, and he's kind of a real mellow breaker anyway, so like he's not slamming the front down. So we had to come back. When he came to California, we worked on some starts and found we really didn't think it was really the button position as much as it was another part. So fix that, and I said, okay, so we really did that, and it's gone, so we should go back up, and we have gone back up.
Scott Yamamoto now. Cameron's had a tough few seasons with injuries. He's been pretty vocal about the goal is still to just win, but are you happy with him just like getting the podium and staying healthy? What is your expectation of Cameron?
I think he's doing really good. I mean, if you look at it, like I said this before, you know, he's won races numerous years. He's had the red plate. He's been in positions to win a championship, and that didn't happen. I think he's riding good, and I think it'll continue to improve as we keep going.
Jeff with Whiskey Throttle. So over the years, you've been really, really loyal to Cameron and Seth and Levi, and in turn, they've been extremely loyal to you, and you hear them repeatedly talk about wanting to get a win from Mitch, wanting to get a win from Mitch. How much does that mean to you when your team is that loyal to you? Out of all the paddock, it seems those guys are the most endeared to you.
Well, I think that is, I mean, it's flattering, of course, but I think the guys that we have on our team are really good people. You know, like they're not jerks. They're very respectful, and I think that is important for our sport also. So I think it's, you know, like we always had that saying, good things happen to good people, and I still believe in that, and I don't think you have to be necessarily out of control, you know, everywhere to accomplish goals.
We were talking about the Levi starts. Were there also improvements to the motorcycle, engine-wise, package-wise, going into this season that have helped with that as well?
Yeah, there was a few things that we improved on in the off season that we had tested, and then we thought it was going to be a big difference, but then when they came out and each guys rode it, they thought it was a big change. So we have a couple more pieces that potentially could help, but like anything, it takes time, and when you're dealing with the vendors, everybody's late.
Ryan Itzen with Cycle News. Just talking with Cameron and Levi right now about what the vibe was like after the race and during this week. 2 podiums, but they made it sound like it's win or nobody's happy. Can you take us through how it was from your point of view?
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, this is awesome. You got second and third. And I'm like, we didn't get the job done. Like, the job is to win. You know, like, I think that's our goal. And I think it's their goal, too. So I feel like I don't think we should set or lower our expectations. I think that's a cheap shot.
It's me again. When we talked to Wygant about the improvements on the bike, can you elaborate on the pieces and the things you changed and the parts? Maybe give us a dyno chart. Can you really elaborate on what parts of the bike are better?
I think just the whole engine feel is better than it was last year. And I thought last year's was really good towards the end. We made some good improvements last year, and I think this added to that. And I expect even a little bit more in the future.
Okay, also, where are the new Kawasaki 2-strokes?
Very, very soon. Very soon.
Awesome. Hi, Robbie. It's good to have you here. It's been a solid start to this season for you guys. I feel like we see that with no matter who's lining up on any given weekend for you guys. But let's start with Maximus Vohland. Last weekend, his starts have been so consistent. He has been battling for front positions and now leading laps. So I guess what do you feel like is leading to that this year?
I think confidence, and then the fact that in practice leading into the season, his starts were pretty good. He was pretty much our best starter. And I think he just believes in himself a little bit more right now. And that handbrake and everything is just kind of like all those little things have been worked out, and feeling pretty good about it.
Oh, well, kind of the same question for Hunter Yoder as well. He has seemed like of most racers out there, he seems to have making one of the most substantial jumps over the offseason. So I guess what can you say about Hunter Yoder as well?
Yeah, Hunter just building like every week. You could see him get a little faster, and then I think kind of latching onto a Max and then getting pulled along. And now it's almost like they're pretty even in speed. And I think if Yoder can get a start, he's going to give Max some trouble. And with Max getting the fourth last weekend, we're knocking on the podium, which is pretty cool. I think Yoder can do that as well.
Absolutely. Questions from the media?
Steve Mathis, ClubMX. Chad has been a big help to your program. He's told us that he's got 6 rounds guaranteed coming to the races and all that before his kids take over and all of that. I guess tell us, will he keep going past 6? Do we know what's going on? And then also, from your point of view, what's it like having him helping these guys? Because both your riders are off to good starts.
Well, first, when Chad says something, usually the riders listen a little better than when I say it. So that part is great. First 6 rounds, yeah, he's in for sure. I don't see how he won't keep going along. Like, we've got a pretty good nucleus right now. The riders, the crew, everyone's getting along so good. And, having Chad there is just, it's like that insurance. When you have something or you question something, an obstacle on the track, the whoops, whatever, a setting on the bike, he's just enough knowledge and experience to push it over the edge.
Johnny with Moto Unfiltered, talking with Max. He was very ecstatic about his performance last weekend, but then hearing in his voice after getting that points penalty, he seemed like, man, why did they take that from me? I'm trying to make more points, and then they take points from him. Him being a young man, how do you help motivate him and see the bigger picture?
Yeah, we kind of just approach it like pull the tear off and move on to the next weekend. It's obviously out of our control now, and nothing we can do about it. So we're just looking forward to this weekend. We love this track, the layout, the stadium here. I think it's geared up. And like with press today, I felt both of our guys were pretty fiery, hitting some pretty big lines right away, which is always a good indicator. So I feel pretty good about it, yeah.
Jeff with Whiskey Throttle. So you kind of touched on it, how the team's all getting along. How much fun are you guys having during the week? I mean, there's a big grind in there, but are they working with the East Coast crew during the week and vibing with those guys as far as showing them what's going on the bike, getting ready for the East rounds, and just kind of getting Cody and Devin set up for the next series that's about to start?
Yeah, before the West started, we were doing that. But then once the West did start, they both, Max and Yoder, did stay out in California. So we haven't had them all together. But next week, we're going to start that back up again. And yeah, just those two are pretty goofy. Max is quiet, Yoder's the goofball, which they kind of balance each other pretty well. So it's a good combo. And then, of course, getting ready for the East, you've got Cody, who's looking pretty good, and then Simonson ready to, kind of put his stamp. Last year, he never got the chance to kind of show everything. So, yeah.
Give us an update on Ryder, who had that big crash at the SMX Next, and then talk about your journey to end up in this spot. Was this something you intended even 3 years ago that you'd be doing this?
Yeah, jokingly, honestly, like, they had a thing with racers' dads to kind of get them out of the shop because they had some rough runs, and I'm joking, of course, but it was, it was interesting. I didn't plan on it. It kind of all just worked out. Very, grateful, thankful, excited, and it's been a lot of fun kind of keeping it simple. Our goal is to just the ABCs. Let's do everything that we can handle in the smaller part really well, and so far so good.
And how's he doing?
Yeah, and Ryder, yeah, he's doing really good, walking normal, feeling really good. He's got about another week of no physical movement or anything, just chilling, and then he can start getting back to it. So his goal is probably 6 weeks out from that crash to be back on a bike.
Ryan Nitzen with Cycle News. I feel like ClubMX from the outside looked like there was a lot of uncertainty coming into this season. What's it been like to lead the group through that? And then you guys have been at the front of the field almost every week. How's that been for you?
Well, yeah, you're right. It was a little uncertain. I had been hired, and then 2 weeks later we kind of found out some of the news with the sponsors. And I actually went to Brandon and just said straight up, if you have to make bold moves and I have to part ways, I'm ready to do that. And he said, no, we're going to see this thing through. And honestly, it kind of made it like everybody kind of grouped together, and we got a lot stronger throughout all that. It wasn't ideal by no means, but it did bring the team together and a lot stronger, and everybody realized like how volatile it could be. And yeah, we just put our heads down and day by day and worked harder.
How's it going? Justin Lee with Motocross Action. Kind of want to talk a little bit about the handbrake. There's been some discussion about the sensitivity on it. Obviously, your hand's not as strong as your foot. Is that something you guys are working with week by week, or are you kind of at a happy medium right now with Max?
Honestly, last year they had it dialed in pretty good, and we haven't touched it since then. It's and honestly, it's not even a thing we think about anymore. It's just Max's bike, and that's how he rides it, and it really isn't an issue at all. Nothing to it.
Carrie, well, thanks for being here. Bring us up to speed on where things are at with your team right now. What has the media not been talking about enough?
Well, as you can tell, I think the only woman standing up here. So, yeah, we have a competitive team. We're working really hard to have a bike that can run up front. Josh Varese is a 12th in points right now, so he's doing really well. And Revan Gordon right now just, has some mishaps and some injuries, but he's just as talented, and I think we can be just as competitive.
Was it last week Revan had an off on the motorcycle? Was it in qualifying? How has he been doing, or maybe how has that affected his week, if at all?
Luckily it could have been way worse. He was dragged, his foot got caught and was dragged up the face of a jump. We just did some therapy and stuff this week, and he's ready to go for this weekend for sure.
Open it up to questions from the media.
Johnny with MX Unfiltered. How is it being a team principal in a male-dominated sport? What can you say to the females coming through here that, hey, we're here, and do you ever consider at one point there's some really good talent? I mean, there's this little racing girl that may be able to beat the boys.
Yeah. So I think just being a woman, I've been working in the industry for like 25 years now with a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. But I would say it's possible. It's possible. You have to be willing to be passionate about what you're doing. But really for anything, women, man, whatever, I think it's possible to be able to stand up here with you guys. So.
Scott Yarjamoto now. Revan didn't line up for San Diego. I believe he maybe had a practice crash leading up to it. And then obviously the crash last weekend, like Haley mentioned, is he battling through some injuries? And what are your expectations for him? Do you expect him to be making mains and being up there with Freezy?
Yeah, absolutely. Revan should be in the main events. He is so good during the week. So good during the week, and then actually during practice is just by just tenths of a second for him. And just small mistakes. And yes, nagging injuries don't help at all. But we're probably in the best spot as we've been now for this weekend. So, yeah, I would say that injuries obviously, cause things to be a little bit rougher for him, so.
Just talk about being a California-based team. Where do you guys do your riding? I know you have your compound where they can train, but how's the riding part work? Because we do hear there's not as many places to ride. Has that been a struggle?
It's definitely been a struggle. Last year was a real struggle, and then I had originally leased a portion of Lake Elsinore to do a Supercross track and build a track, and a month later that got shut down, as everybody knew. This year is much easier. Sandbox has leased Lake Elsinore, and we are riding that track, and then also Fox has come and done a couple Supercross tracks. So it's been really good for training. I think there's a lot of chat that California is not good for Supercross training. Oh, it is. It has been. We are not without a place to train for sure. So it's been good, really good, and the weather's been great. So.
How's it going, Ryan Nitzen with Cycle News? Can you talk about Josh's kind of season so far. I feel like he was a late addition to your team, if I'm not correct or not. But he's come really far, and he's kind of the surprise of your team, I feel like.
Absolutely. So it was really late in finding out that Dylan Walsh was going to stay in Australia and ride in Australia, which was a multi-year deal for him, and that's where he wanted to end up. So it worked out best, and we have a good relationship. So, but it was at first like, oh, okay, who are we going to get to fill that spot? I've known Josh Voorhees since he was little. He used to live at Milestone. I've watched him grow up. He has tons of talent, and I just didn't think he's ever had the opportunity that I think we're offering him now. His work ethic, I'm also the trainer of the team, and I don't think in the past he's had a midweek work ethic. He'll tell anybody that he just showed up to the races, and he still was very talented. So with our work that we're doing during the week now, and coming to the races, I mean, he's showing up. And I think he's only going to get better for sure.
Jeff with Whiskey Throttle. I've spent a lot of time with you at Elsinore and at Fox in the off season, watching you train with the guys, and I just kind of want to know from your point of view, what's your favorite thing about it? Is it the management of the team and rider selection, or is it kind of mentoring and training the guys?
I like it all. I like every bit of it, right? Mentoring the guys, I love that. I think just guiding them through this isn't, and I think it comes to being like a woman in the sport. We're a little bit more emotional. That's a pro and con of being a woman in this sport for sure. But also I think it's a pro because I can lean on the sensitive side of things too for the riders and navigate through that to help them be better on the track. So I really enjoy that, and I love the team aspect of it. It's funny this year, the team is growing and more people are in place, and I don't have to like do as much, but I'm a hands-on person. I like to work. So yeah, I just love the work part of it. I love the rider part of it, the relationship part of it, the industry. So.
Hey there, Crash Gladys with Speed Freaks. It's coincidental that we are in Cardinal Stadium right here, where when Bruce Arians was coach, he hired the first female coach for the NFL, the first female assistant coach. Are you surprised and or frustrated and or it's par for the course that it's 2026 and we're still considering females in men's work, so to speak, a novelty?
I don't know. You have to be a certain person to fight through it. I will say that, being in the industry for like 25 years, I don't think it was till about 5 years ago that finally I feel like I belong. And I think also feel respected, I think, at this point, because I think some people are like, okay, she's still here. She's still here. So yeah, I think that it takes commitment, like with any male or female, to stay in this sport for the amount of time that a lot of us have stayed in this sport. So I don't really think that's like, I think it's just male or female, right? Like it's a grind, which is the reason why I call my compound grindstone, right? It is a grind. So, and I think there's only a certain type of personality that wants to stay in this sport this long. You know what I mean? And I enjoy it, and I feel proud for the women. I do. I feel proud for women. Being able to be standing in the manager's tower. I don't think that's happened very often, to be a woman in a manager's tower. I don't feel arrogant about it, but I do feel proud, for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.